Welcome to the place. As you know, you are an atheist. I am not. I'm a Christian. As we know, I have zero interest in trying to prove you wrong or giving you an opportunity to prove me wrong. Debating about religion, about God, boring. Not going to do that. This is more of an intelligent conversation than that. And you know that. So if you've watched these videos before, what I do is I ask you as an individual atheist a question to ultimately find out, can we agree on something? Can we agree on something that may have nothing to do with theology in any way, but ultimately, can we find that Venn diagram? And I've been doing that here recently. I've asked questions as far as how much I don't care about sports, how much I don't care about associating with Republicans or Democrats. For the fact that I'm able to disassociate from such commonly held and loved beliefs that mainstream is into and I'm not, makes me think to that degree I can relate to you as an atheist, because I can imagine how you feel. Now, I will give you an opportunity. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually would say that of all the 7 billion people on the planet today, it appears that most are theist by default. They don't even have to be part of a major religion. They don't have to be Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Hindu, whatever. They could be some religion we've never heard of. But ultimately, by default, when you take the population of the world, from what I understand, most people live alive on the planet today would by default be labeled as a theist as compared to an atheist. I think that's pretty safe to assume. Modern day, that's what we're looking at. So I'm empathizing. I'm putting myself in your shoes. My size is 10. Is that the same? We wear the same size. Okay, good. So with that being said, I can imagine how you would feel. You're of the minority, that you are an atheist as opposed to a theist by default. Most people alive on the planet are theists. You're not. So ultimately, you have unplugged from part of the human existence that most people know as their own, believing in some higher power. Whereas you don't, most people do, in a global scale, and probably even on a local scale, is what I would guess. So what I'm saying is, I feel I can relate to you in some ways, in that I have different beliefs than a lot of people. Like, for example, 9/11. I've made this very clear in many of my videos. I question the fact that the people who crashed into the Twin Towers on 9/11, they were from Saudi Arabia. They weren't from the countries we've actually attacked in all the wars we've started in the Middle East, and the concept of defending our country and fighting for our freedom. We're not going after Saudi Arabia because they're oil buddies with us. Now, granted, my understanding is some rebels from that who didn't appreciate our chummy relationship with Saudi Arabia, that was some sort of rebellious act that they did, but we use it as an advantage to start a war, to look for weapons of mass destruction. And yes, Iraq and all that, Afghanistan, all that stuff. People that crashed into the planes were not from the countries that we're attacking. See, what I just said, most people don't know that, they don't care, or it just goes right over them. They don't care. See, for me, I'm a minority, and that I'm the one talking about this. No one really cares when I talk about that. But see, I feel most of my life, while I've been part of society, I often have beliefs that most people don't have. If you're familiar with the Enneagram personality test, I'm the first belief, number one. I have this sense of, in my own mind at least, I need to feel that I am right about whatever it is. Now, granted, in my journey of emotional intelligence, especially past age 35, I got to the point where I have no interest in proving other people wrong, as long as in my mind, I believe I'm right about the thing. This is what I believe about 9/11. I understand that is not what most people believe, know, or care about. I understand that. But that's one of many ways. I mean, granted, think with this. I was a strict vegan for 5.5 years and a vegetarian for 7, up until about a year ago. All the years I lived that way, and I mean, even now, honestly, I'm not that far from it. The way I eat is much more strict and deliberate compared to most people I know. there are so many things about me where I just sort of unplug from mainstream existence, and that's how I live my life. And so what I'm saying is sort of a recap of many of these videos I've made before for atheists. Here's what I'm trying to say. In this Venn diagram of what we can agree on, you as the atheist, me as the Christian, we can't agree on religion. I get that. But I think you can relate to me in the way that I'm able to be comfortable with believing what is not popular, what is ultimately not normal. I'm not saying that you're not normal because you're an atheist, but ultimately, by default, you're of the minority. And I'm often of the minority. I often believe things that other people don't believe. For example, I recently made a video for my other channel, Family Friendly Daddy Blog, about Columbus Day. Like, for me, it's a freaking joke. Columbus Day, we're celebrating a European discovering America. No, people were here for thousands of years. You can't discover something that was already there. And ultimately, to celebrate the Europeans' landing, I mean, we can say that because of the Europeans' arrival, it radically changed the existence of America. And not necessarily in a good way, at least not for the natives. Maybe for the Europeans, not for the natives. See, for me, I'm like, that's ridiculous that we would even have Columbus Day. We should be honoring the natives, the indigenous people. But see, I'm the crazy one. You know, people will leave comments on that video saying that I'm the moron, I'm ignorant, I'm stupid, I'm wrong, because I am siding with the natives. And granted, coincidentally, I just happen to have both Spanish heritage and Native American. So speaking of Venn diagrams, I'm of both. But for me, I'm like, I'm not, even if you don't believe Columbus Day is wrong, which I'm not necessarily here to say it's immoral, I'm here to say it's silly, it's ridiculous. But see what I just said, most people disagree with me even on that around here in the United States. So I know not to talk about that. And even on the YouTube video I post on my other channel, I'm sure it's going to take a lot of heat. I don't care about that, which ultimately is another thing I think that you, the atheist, and me, the Christian, have in common. We're okay with believing things that aren't normal, and we're okay with believing things that are not popular. We're okay with that. And I think it takes a certain sort of mindset to be okay to believe things or to accept certain versions of reality, even if most people never will, they don't care, or even they would criticize you because of your stance on certain things. So what I'm saying is this, closing thought. Another version of this video I could have made, I could have started out different. I could have said, why is it that you keep watching my videos? You know, every time I'm making one of these videos in this series and put, as an atheist, ... it's going to guarantee at least 100 to 200 views minimum every time I do it within a few days. These are by default popular videos, and I know that, and I want to keep engaging the topic. But I could have said at the beginning of the video, why are you continuing to watch these videos if ultimately you know that there's no debate involved, that in the end I'm not becoming an atheist, and then in the end you're not becoming a Christian. We both know that. That's the understanding from the get-go. There's no chance of a debate about any of this. Why keep coming back? What's the draw? What I would say is ultimately it's because we can relate so much in our Venn diagram overlap that we're okay believing things that most people don't believe. Or in the case of an atheist, I know atheists do not appreciate me saying believe, so perceive or accept, however you want to, whatever the right word to use there, insert it there. But ultimately, we're okay. And don't get caught up on what I just said. That's when we're getting into debating thing. I'm doing my best here. I know I'm not supposed to use the word believe. So whatever the right word is, my point is this. You're okay having unpopular, there it is again, beliefs. Unpopular perceptions, unpopular acceptance of the way things happen. You gotta help me out. I know that's its own video. If I can't say believe, what am I supposed to say? I'm not clear on that. Please clearly communicate. Nick, instead of saying believe, just say this. Because I'm struggling. I'm struggling every time I make a video not to use the word I'm not. It's like, oh, you're cussing. You're saying a curse word when you say believe. Like, that's how I feel. I don't know. And I'm okay with not knowing. So there we go. Help me know what to say instead of believe. I keep bringing that up as a common theme. It's not worth making a whole video about. What is worth making a whole video about is, why do you keep watching these videos? Why do you keep coming back? Why are you interested in what I have to say? Ultimately, because ironically, in some ways, maybe I'm one of the few people beyond other atheists that you know that you can really relate to. I'm okay with the way I perceive reality not being the same as everyone else's. That's ultimately what this video is about. Can you agree with me on that? Comments right here.